Hey, right now it's 8:01. I was just talking to Sarah Chalke off the air, but now we're on the air. Sarah and I were talking about the episode of Scrubs where she uses the toilet on the roof. And you were talking about how excited you were to work with Michael J. Fox?
Yes. Okay, so I grew up, obviously, loving Michael J. Fox, and he's a huge idol of mine and a comedic genius, and we heard he was going to be on the show. Bill Lawrence, who created the show, was very good buddies with him because they did Spin City together. And so we're all wondering, like, what's the script going to be? We can't wait. Like, I hope I get to have scenes with him. And then I'll read it, and I'm like, I'm on the Epiphany toilet. Like, I have to be sitting on a toilet on the roof with my pants around my ankle. That's going to be my scene with Michael J. Fox. I'm so nervous.
Yeah, I love that. Michael J. Fox just, I read a quote from him yesterday where somebody asked, what kind of roles he can play on TV, and he said, I can play any role as long as they have my disease. He's like, as long as they have Parkinson's, I can do any role ever, as long as it's a guy with Parkinson's. So
he's amazing. He's so inspiring, and I think it's just incredible what he has done for Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
I mean, he's changing the face of the disease. He's fundraised so much for it, and it's really, really inspiring.
Yeah, it is very, very cool to see people like that use the voice that they have, the podium, the ability to speak to people for good. And before we get to your show, which is what you're here to promote, since we covered it a lot yesterday. We had Elizabeth Perkins on, so we covered the show a lot, so we don't need to focus so much on that, but we will get back to it. I want to talk about, speaking of diseases, disorders, awareness, your son had Kawasaki disease, and that's something that just came up on Grey's Anatomy recently.
Yeah, I decided to ask the creators of Grey's if we could do an episode about it because my son had Kawasaki disease 2 years ago, and after speaking at a fundraiser in November and meeting a lot of parents who weren't as lucky as we were in terms of the outcome, my son's heart is okay, but Kawasaki disease can lead to permanent heart damage and a heart attack in your child. And we just decided we needed to find a way to raise awareness on a big scale. And someone said, what about doing an episode on a medical show? Because the symptoms are very visual. We thought if parents at home could see what that looks like, that if they ever came across it, maybe it would trigger for them. And basically, there was a website, kdfoundation.org, that saved my son. I would just go to it every day, and it listed all the symptoms so clearly, and he had all of them. And we kept being sent home, people saying, like, it's not Kawasaki disease, and this website kind of gave me the confidence to keep pushing to see a specialist. And you have a 10-day window to get a treatment to save their heart.
Wow.
And we got diagnosed on day 10 and a half and got the treatment on the late side, and thank God he's okay.
That is insane. I mean, it is, I have no idea. I mean, I have a child, and I've never even heard, I mean, I hear Kawasaki disease, and I assume your child's turning into a motorcycle. Like, I don't know anything about it.
Totally. Nobody is. I mean, I'd never heard of it, and basically, like, you get these high fevers, and then everything sort of goes red. Like, super red eyes is one of the telltale signs, red lips, a red tongue, rash all over your body, and one of the last symptoms is the finger skin peels away.
Oh.
But that often happens too late in terms of the 10-day window. So if you see your kid having any of these other symptoms, it's, just go see a specialist. And the other weird thing is take pictures of your kid when they're sick. And I know that sounds so strange to do when they're sick and you're taking a picture of their rash, but that's what ended up diagnosing my son, because by the time we made it to the specialist, some of his symptoms were gone, and it was the pictures of him at his sickest that the doctor used to diagnose him. He said a picture's worth 1,000 words. Thank God you took them.
Oh, that's so awesome. What a cool thing. I mean, just for so many people, I'm sure, thousands of people listening right now probably, like me, might not have ever heard of the disease, or if they did, had no idea what it is. And now parents know that, if there's something really off with your child that sounds like that, they at least will, in the back of their mind, will go, maybe it's Kawasaki disease, and look it up and see if, the symptoms match up. I mean, what great awareness you're bringing to this.
Yeah, we felt so lucky that Grey's did it, because ever since then, like the foundation website, KD Foundation, I think they usually get 200 visitors a day, and then they got 30,000 the day of Grey's. So they emailed me to say, like, I'm sure there are parents already who are figuring it out from this, and that was our goal. We thought, like, if we can just help one parent not go through what we did, then it will be worth it.
That's awesome. What a great use of your voice there to be able to spread awareness for that. And now, let's spread awareness to something that's paying those bills. How to live with your parents for the rest of your life. Your new show with you, the very funny Brad Garrett, and the ever so lovely and talented Elizabeth Perkins. They play your parents, and you play the what seems to be somewhat dysfunctional daughter, Polly, and your daughter, and you move back into the house, right?
We do, and I'm so jealous. You got to hang out with one of my favorite humans, Elizabeth Perkins, yesterday. I was obsessed with weeds, and when I heard she was maybe going to play my mom, I didn't sleep from that minute until the minute that I found out that it was a done deal. And Brad Garrett's one of the funniest people you'll ever meet.
Yes, that's what Elizabeth said. She said she couldn't even, first day she had to like turn away from him because even if she'd look at him, she would just start laughing. Totally.
I've had to ask him, like, can you not say this line or just don't look at me on this one line because I can't get through it? And, like, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. So you're sitting there having a laughing attack thinking, I need a producer to come and, like, glare at me or do something to make me feel like I can't stop laughing.
Yeah, that's a good problem. I mean, that seems like a very good problem to have on a show that's designed to make people laugh. I mean, if you on the set can't even hold it together, that bodes well for the crowd. And obviously it worked well. We were talking to Elizabeth about this yesterday. 8.5 million viewers. So that's huge for last week's episode. Tonight's episode, or tomorrow night, 8:30 after Modern Family. People need to check it out. Very, very, very funny show. And you tell people, I want to know not so much about the show, but I want to know about the pressure coming off of Scrubs, which was 9 seasons. I mean, this long, epic run. Is there any pressure on you, like wondering, because these new shows, you never know. They could be the biggest show in the world, or they could get canceled in one season. Luckily, it looks like this one's gonna, have some legs. But is there a pressure? Do you feel that pressure, or is it just something that the media worries about and you don't even think about?
I think it's less of a pressure than just like a wish for it to go on, in the sense that I just want to get to hang out with these people longer because it's the funnest job. I think, with Scrubs, we got so lucky. I mean, I think it's lightning in a bottle to get to be on one show for that long. And I think in terms of the next job, you just have to go with your gut in terms of what makes you laugh. And when I read this pilot, it was just making me laugh out loud. I loved the jokes. I mean, I couldn't believe how outrageous and funny the parents were. I loved the character. I could relate to her so much. And I think you got to go with what makes you laugh and what's funny, and then get to hope that you get to do it for a bit of time.
That's awesome. Anything else that you're working on aside from How to Live with Your Parents? Is this all you're doing right now, or do you have any other projects in the hopper?
This is all I'm doing right now. Just living with my parents.
That's good. You got to focus. That's what Elizabeth said too. Everybody's just focused on this show. And that's good. I mean, a lot of times people have too many things going on. I like that you all quit everything in your lives except this show.
Totally. I've moved in with Claudia and her parents. Elizabeth Brad are moving in. Like, we're just thinking maybe if we just, really are method about it.
That'll come across to the audience, and totally. It can't fail. Well, everything seems to be going well for the show. I mean, for the show so far, obviously with those ratings, the reviewers are loving it. People in the audience, we've had people, here on our text line texting and say how funny the show is already. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to check it out. How to Live with Your Parents for the rest of your life. Elizabeth Perkins, who was Celia on Weeds, she's fantastic. Brad Garrett, obviously we know from Everybody Loves Raymond, and of course Sarah, we know from Scrubs and everything else she's done. Fantastic cast, great premise, very topical and hard-hitting with what's happening in today's economy. So it's kind of a funny twist on things that's happening to people all over the country. So check this show out and enjoy it, and remember Kawasaki disease. Spread the word about that. And Sarah, thank you so much for giving that disease a voice, for your awareness, for being so cool, and for taking the time for us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.